Hey folks, this is Josh Lean from ConsciousNature.net. Just wanted to share a tip with you today that I have found helpful for myself and for my clients that comes both from the art of tracking and from awareness practice in general. And that is the power of asking questions. Of course, we ask questions every day in our life for sure, but I remember a distinct point when I was introduced to what's called the art of questioning. And I remember this as a teenager, how the power of directed, intentional inquiry could open up such new fields of insight in my day. And this is the simple practice of asking, well, first, what's going on here, right? When we do this, we actually step back from the situation. Sometimes we have a situation in life, happening in a relationship, in a context, or it could be even when we're out tracking. We're tracking an animal, we find a track. And what do we like to do as humans? Well, we are storytellers, so our brain wants to go right into the story. And sometimes that means that our brain ignores a lot of information and jumps to what it notices first and starts to build a story around that. So when we can step back from that and recognize that's happening almost automatically in a lot of the cases in our life, then we can actually get some more perspective and insight. We can do that by stepping back and asking, okay, well, what's going on here? And to actually answer that question requires that we look holistically at the situation. How am I feeling about this? What actually is being said? What am I actually hearing right now? What's being communicated? What are the factors involved in this situation, right? So we can apply that to a conversation in a relationship. We can also apply that to a set of tracks that we find. Maybe our mind goes right to, oh, that's got to be a bobcat, right? But when we step back and we go, well, what am I actually seeing here? What's happening here? And we start to count the toes. And we start to look at the shape of the track. We start to look if there's claws in the track or not, right? We start to ask all these questions. What's the shape of the metacarpal pad, right? Or in a relationship situation, okay, well, what was communicated? How did that land with me? Did I hear that as it was meant to be communicated, or did I filter that according to my own bias, right? So we start to ask these questions in this first larger question, what's happening here? And once we filled that in, we start to get a more complete picture. And it takes us out of our initial story if we do this. It gives us a pause. Suddenly we can step back and assess, right? And we can gather that information and create a more accurate story, a more accurate understanding based on that information. So that's the first step of the process. And I wanted to share that one with you today because that's a big one. And there's more to it. But just taking the time to do that, to recognize that our brain naturally wants to create a story and applies its filters that are existing to whatever we're noticing. And we tend to jump right into that with an interpretation. So I invite you just to play with that and to step back from interpretation this week and go into observation mode. And during interactions, whether it's out in nature or day to day in your life, to step back at times and just consciously assess. Maybe it's in the moment or maybe it's later after the fact, but to ask those questions and gather more information and see the new perspective that opens up on the situation and the choices that are then available to you. So have fun with that. And as always, you can learn more on my blog and also get one-on-one support and mentoring to help you on your journey with wild wisdom, to support your life for health and well-being. All right, thanks. That's all for today. Catch you next time.